Hi friends, welcome all of you to the introduction class of your subject Theory of Structures 1. First of all, you should know about the subject. What is the theory of structures? Theory of structures means for civil engineers, for the design of structures, any structural member, maybe a beam or slab, column or staircase, whatever may be the structural element. For the design of that structure, we should know the theory behind it. So, what are the theories related to the design part? So, that is discussing in Theory of Structures 1. So, for that you should know the basic knowledge of the topics what you have already studied in physics. So, today I will give you an introduction about the module 1 only. In module 1 there are 4 topics mainly. Number 1, moment of forces. Number 2, support reactions. Number 3, center of gravity. And number 4, moment of inertia. All these terms you have already studied in physics 1 and 2 in your semesters 1 and 2. So, just recall. Actually, from that only we can start our topic Theory of Structures. Moment of forces. For that you should know what is a force and what is a moment. What is a force? It is very familiar to you. It is a vector quantity. A force is having both magnitude and direction, and it is an action by which a body will change from its initial position or tends to change. It may be a push or a pull, right, according to the direction. So, it is having both magnitude and direction. So, force is a vector quantity. There are 2 types of quantities, scalar quantity and vector quantity. And its unit, SI unit is Newton, that also and the topics related to forces you already studied about the different type of forces, how to find out the resultant of 2 forces, how to resolve a force into 2 components, horizontal and vertical. Like this, the basic things of forces already you studied in physics. So, that things, the topics related to forces we are not discussing here. So, just go through that about the type of forces, about the resolution of forces, how to find out the resultant of forces when a number of forces are given, and what is moment, that also is studied. Moment means that is the product of a force and distance, the force and the perpendicular distance. That means when a force is acting in any direction, a force may act in any direction. Suppose a force is here acting vertically downwards, say a force P acting vertically downwards. The moment of this force about any point, say O. If you want to find out the moment of this force about a point O, what is it? The magnitude of the force P, say it is, suppose it is 10 kilonewton, and the distance from that force to the point O is say 10 or 100 mm, then what is the moment? Moment of this force P or 10 kilonewton about the point O will be equal to force into distance, that is 10 kilonewton into 100 mm. 10 kilonewton into 100 mm. So, the unit will be kilonewton millimeter. So, force into distance, the unit of force in Newton or kilonewton, and the unit of distance in meter or millimeters as per our SI standards. So, that is the moment. So, like this, if a number of forces are given, any number of forces are given, you can find out the total moment of all the forces about any point. So, that is the definition. Moment of a force is the force, the magnitude of the force into perpendicular distance. Perpendicular distance, that is very important. Not any distance, perpendicular distance from that force to the point considered. That is the moment. So that we will study in detail about forces and moment of forces. That's about the first topic in unit 1. Number 2, support reactions. What do you mean by support reactions? Whenever there is a beam, we are civil engineers, so we are always discuss about the structural elements like slabs, beams, columns, etc. So whenever we discuss about a beam, there are different types of beams. You will study in detail. Now, suppose a simply supported beam, that means a beam like this, it is supported at the two ends, freely supported, right? Both ends freely supported, and the beam is resting over that, the two supports. It is known as a freely supported beam or a simply supported beam. When there are number of forces vertically acting vertically downwards, say W1, W2, W3, etc. How to find out the reactions? You know that whenever there is a vertical external loads, there should be reactions also to resist the external loads. So these are the reactions, say R1 and R2, to resist this external loading acting downwards. So how to find out the reactions R1 and R2 when these external force are acting on the beam? So that part will be discussed in detail in support reactions. The magnitudes will be given to you. Suppose there are three forces, 10 kilonewton, 5 kilonewton, 15 kilonewton, like that, and the span of the beam will be given. What is the span? Span means there is a horizontal distance between the two supports. Suppose this is the room, this distance from wall to wall, that is the span, clear span of the room. So like that, this is the span of the beam, and these are the external loads vertically downwards. These are the two reactions acting vertically upwards. So how to find out the magnitudes of R1 and R2? By taking equilibrium conditions. You studied the equilibrium conditions in your physics. Equilibrium conditions are sigma h is equal to 0, sigma v is equal to 0, and sigma m is equal to 0. The three conditions of equilibrium. What is it? Sigma h is equal to 0 means the algebraic sum of all the horizontal forces are equal to 0. Sigma h, the algebraic sum of all the horizontal forces are equal to 0. First condition. Second one, sigma v is equal to 0, the algebraic sum of all the vertical forces are equal to 0. And third one, the algebraic sum of all the moments are equal to 0. So these are the three conditions. So based on these equilibrium conditions, we can find out the reactions, the support reactions. These are the two supports, the reactions in the supports. So if it is in equilibrium condition, the total downward load should be equal to the total upward load, right? So that part will be discussed in this section, support reactions. That's the second topic. Now come to the third one, center of gravity. It's a very familiar term to you, center of gravity or centroid. You might have heard these two terms in physics, centroid or center of gravity. What is the difference between these two? When we discuss about the center of gravity, there should be a having a three-dimensional body, having some mass, right? Three-dimensional body. Then the algebraic sum of or the resultant of all the forces, all the weights will act through a particular point. That point is known as the center of gravity. These are all in details you studied now in physics about the center of gravity. What about centroid? Centroid means there is also the center of gravity, but there is of a plane lamina, having no thickness, two-dimensional, having no thickness, a plane figure. Then we can say it has a centroid. Centroid and center of gravity. So how to find out the centroid or center of gravity of different plane figures like rectangles, square, triangles, circles, like that. and combination also. That means combination figures having sections, say I section like that, no? I section, right? Like this. It's a combination of three rectangles, 1, 2 and 3, or an L section, combination of two rectangles, or a channel section, combination of three rectangles, or maybe the combination of a semicircle and a triangle, different shapes. So we will study how to find out, how to locate the centroid or center of gravity of different plane figures in this topic, center of gravity. It's clear? Then the last part, moment of inertia. What is moment of inertia? Moment of inertia is a very important term related to civil engineers and for the design or the theory of structures. Moment of inertia means that is when we consider a plane lamina, that is the second moment of area. Second moment of area is known as the moment of inertia. First moment and second moment represented by moment of inertia. That depends upon different shapes. Different shapes, the value will be different. So these are the four parts or topics you are going to study in this module number 1. I think it's clear to you the introduction. Okay, so we'll discuss in detail in the next classes. Thank you, one and all.